Fifi Coleman Productions presents The Dilemma of a Ghost, written by legendary Ama Ata Edu. On the 29th of July, the National Theatre will all be there, 4 and 8 p.m. A cool 100 Ghana cedis. Tickets can be purchased by simply dialing star 711, star 11, star 33 hash, or visit fificolemanproductions.com. Pick up physical tickets at the front desk of Joy FM at the National Theatre and the offices of Fifi Coleman Productions, located on the Lagos Avenue East, Legon. If you want corporate tickets, call 0545 32 0062. I mean, you are not saying you be corporate. So please write 0545 32 0062. If you want it delivered to you, tell them you want Andy Dusty to bring it to you. Hey, man, can you? Well, if you want, they will bring it to you. So now I'll go talk for some radio program top. If you want me to deliver it to you, send a lady be me. I know. Mama Andy Dusty in family. So as they mention the name, that's me. Me and I'm coming, boy. Baby. Hello, Marvy A. Ford. Marvy the motivator. What's up, baby? Okay, now let's start talking. Wei Ye Oteng speaking, says Ghanaian music. She say no, I say. It sounds Nigerian, uninspired, boring. And he says it's disgraceful. This published on Ghana Web. Wei Ye Oteng says our music no the be now. Do you know why most people think now how Ghanaian songs sound like the Nigerians? Is because most of the samples we are using are from Nigeria. Nigerian producers create the samples. He sends shout-outs to Two Kings, adding that he has bought numerous samples, and if you call him for samples, he'll resell them to you and take his margin. He pointed out that you can hear the sample or drum rolls in the music at about 50 producers, indicating that this is why all the songs sound familiar these days. Wei Ye Oteng spoke with Nana Romeo on Accra FM. Let's speak with Wei Ye Oteng. Minia, good morning.
And to the Andy.
Yes, sir. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, my brother. By grace, everything is well.
So when will you visit me here, Accra?
Andy.
Where is it?
You don't want the whole world to know that I was talking to you even yesterday. You never said anything, my brother.
Okay. Let's get on to the reason I invited you.
Oh, no,
so, well, you claim our music is awful now. Is that?
Oh, it's not awful.
Yeah.
Hello, Andy.
I'm right here.
Yeah, our music is not awful. Just that we are dropping the standards by the day. We are refusing to be creative. We are basing on the fact that softwares and AI are available for us and in our possession, and for the fact that people are creating loops for us. So anybody who gets to understand how to arrange stuff on Fruity Loops or Cubase or Logic now thinks that the moment he can record a voice on it, he is good to go. But at the end of the day, it goes beyond that. That's why we call it creativity. It's not just about knowing the ins and outs of the software and how to manipulate it, but also knowing what to create. It's everything. Creativity is everything. So if you realize lately, our songs, let's be very honest, most of our songs, not all, most of our songs sound like the Nigerians. And if you listen to about 50 or 100 produced songs, there are some roles that are very similar. There are some kind of play that are very similar. There are some kind of drum patterns that are very similar. Similarity as in 90%, not just similarity as in like 20% look alike. No, this is a proper look alike. And if you look at this whole thing, it's because most producers now, the new crop of producers, are just refusing to be creative by, creating the things that is in their head. Way back, an artist will come to the studio, book a studio time with the producer. He comes and the producer goes like, okay, so let me hear your song. The artist starts to sing the song. We play according to even the key that the artist is singing, the progressions. So the music, the beat is not just from A to Z, the same thing rolling. At a place you hear some bridges, some solos, and all those things. If you look at Wuter's Yankotwa Donku, at a point, Apetus, he lifts the whole thing. And it brings some excitement, and then the music drops back. But now, thanks to some creative Nigerians, they are creating the loops. So you have a loop.
So your argument is, is your argument about the progression or it's about the samples?
My argument is about the samples has always been there. We've been using samples from way back. And we have two types of samples. We have the loop, which is almost about more than either from 2 bars, 3, 4 bars, 8 bars, 6 bars. And we have the sample shots. The sample shot is like when I tap on something, a hi-hat chime, or I play a snare. That is a shot. And we have the loop. The loop is an 8 bar, 4 bar. And now people create the loop.
Yes, because reading it, you claim you've bought some of the loops from even Nigeria, and you are using some of them. Is it the loops or is it the shots you are talking about here?
I am talking about the loops. You
see,
shots allows you to create from A to Z because you're using it in singles. But when it comes to loop, I have it, you have it, the other guy have it. So whoever comes up with the loop first becomes, and somebody will pitch the loop up, pitch it down, somebody will change the BPM and all that. But at the end of the day, it is all the same thing that we're playing. So if you listen carefully, you realize that most of our songs sound the same. And now producer will play a beat and send it to the artist. He doesn't have control even over the key. Because the key is somebody has already created the key, and that if you tell him to lift the key, either he lifts the key and the sample starts to, misbehave a little, or time stretch it, and it won't even have the feel like the original. And you tell him, oh, Charlie, I think we can play this thing here and play that there. It's stuck. They can't add anything to it because it has been presented to them in a way that whatever you're trying to add, if you're not well inclined, might not even fit.
Okay, but in this case, how does it make our music disgraceful, as you term it?
You see, this is what it is. Most of the samples are samples that are in Nigerian songs already. These are samples that they have used in Nigerian songs. And then when they finish, they cut them and then they sell them. So let's say I produce a Trigmatic song. I am done. I cut 4 bar of the piano, 4 bar of this, and I play this and I play that, and I cut it. And you realize that in our music, it's not everything that is loud in your face. Some things are at the background. So I cut all those things, I put them together, and I sell. So when I have a producer who also likes the same kit, and he picks the kits up, what he does is, I like the drum parting. I don't like the bass. I like this. I don't like. Somebody will say, I like everything, but let me just pitch it up to sound different, or let me just infuse a bass from a different sample that has the same key and maybe the same BPM. So you realize that we keep shuffling what we have. Unlike those days where producers, or even now, some producers who have really learned the trade and know the keyboard, the drum patterns and all that, will take their time and play. It is not like that. So now, let's be very honest with ourselves. Andy, you are one of the award-winning DJs. Now you're playing songs, and if you're not careful, you might not even know the difference between this song and that song, if not for the name of the artist and maybe the voice that is on it. And it keeps...
That is, they sound alike. Is that what you're trying to say?
They sound very much alike. And if we are trying to get somewhere, if we're trying to export ourselves to the world market, how do you go with something that somebody has already made a lot out of it? The reason why most of our songs that we do now gets to the world market and doesn't get recognition is not because the musicians didn't do their best on it, but because the sound itself, it's kind of like, this is something we've heard before. This is not original from what Davido has done, with what Wizkid has done, with what any of these good boys out there have done. So this is our problem. All that I'm saying is, we should really get back to the days when we used to program from scratch. Or even if you can't, find a sample that is that becomes like like something that has inspired you, and then work around it to have like a 20% sample, 80% of original production. And I think if we do that, people will start trooping in Ghana to come and see the originality, the energy, and how it used to be done. Ask all these guitarists, ask all these drummers, ask all these saxophonists. If it's not for the likes of the few Nazis and some few people who likes to create from the scratch and originality, ask them when last did any of them play the session in any studio? Because all the guitars and everything there has been, given to them. So we are all using the same thing. The only thing is we are chopping and balancing, bringing the first to the third and the third to the first, and that is what is happening. So at the end of the day, our sound now, and the funny thing, most of these things have been pre-mixed already. So when you get it, you can't really do much. And some of them are together. You can have a shaker, a hi-hat, and maybe a tom together. Now ask yourself that if you have to mix this, how is it going to be possible? Unless you use maybe a software called Regroover to kind of like separate all those things. But you're going to have some, which is going to take a lot of frequencies away. So it limits the ability for the artist to have a certain instrument and mix it a certain way that he likes or will suit the music better, but rather leave it in there as it is. And it's really, really hurting us.
All right, but I find some of the words you used a bit harsh, and a lot of people have expressed their disgust at the words that you used. That they are disgraceful, they are uninspiring and boring.
No. You see, it's Andy. If you are a true producer who understands creativity, you will understand that it's disgraceful. Just like when someone else who is a journalist sits on radio or on TV, and he has somebody there interview, and he's supposed to put some questions that will reveal the truth in whatever discussion that they are discussing, and the person keeps lurking around, and you ask yourself that this guy is a disgrace. Just like most bloggers put some headlines that doesn't depict what the story truly is, but rather are trying to use it as a bait. As a proper journalist, you say these guys are disgrace to, the trade. They are making the thing unattractive. It's not inspiring to be part of what we do. And even DJA, your president and all that, from time to time, they come out to chastise what people are doing. It does not mean we won't have the bad ones in there, and it does not mean people always won't try to tarnish the supreme image of producers or any other trade that requires in-depth analysis and research to come out with originality. They will always be there. So if I say people who solely base on this as a way of churning out music to the public is a disgrace to the producer fraternity, I am not wrong. And it doesn't disgust, because if you can do something well and you know there is a way around it to get it done, and people are cutting corners to kind of like make it sound improper, inferior, and you know it can be done better, it will always be a disgrace to us.
Okay, well quick, before I let you go, let me digress a bit. When you heard about the Grammy mentioning the Ghanaian drill,
Right.
how did you feel? I'm asking because you were one of the critics who especially mentioned that, well, it was dead on arrival. Now, when you heard about it, how did you feel?
Well, you see, I didn't say the Ghanaian drill was dead on arrival. I said the American thing that they are trying to project,
Okay.
like naming the American cities after themselves, and
Okay.
with some. That was what I said was dead on arrival, not the genre, because the drill that they are doing have traces. It's being copied from somewhere, and they are adding some few things that brings it to their, to their side of the whole view. So, I mean, even though it has gone to the Grammys, but they say Ghanaian drill, which means drill is somewhere else, or drill has already been popularized by some group of people. But since you're also doing it and it's catching up so well, we're giving you this section to compete. Obviously, if we are to add you to the entire drill fraternity across the world, you might not end up anywhere. So we are giving you this side of it as a Ghanaian drill, so that when you get to the Grammys, or when we're categorizing you people, we can say, oh, this is the European drill, this is the Ghanaian drill, this is the Puerto Rican drill, or whatever. So in my opinion, I said, kudos to the guys who held on true to their dream and believe that it's drill that can make them. Today they are eating, they are enjoying, if and only they are going through the proper executive procedures to secure whatever they have. They are enjoying. So I did not say drill was dead on arrival, but I said the American movement trying to change names to kind of like stitch themselves in, that is dead on arrival. And you and I know today how many people mention all these American cities that we were trying to. Don't forget that a lot of people at a point, they were trying to come up with all these names, writing them and all that. But really, it was truly dead on arrival. But when it comes to the drill, trust me, it did well for some part of the section, and it's still doing well for them. And I hope that when they get to the Grammys, they do it more to get more slots and then win, because when Ghana breaks it home, it's not just for them, it's for the industry.
Righty. Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, Andy, and your team.
Martinez, morning once again.
Good morning, sir.
Adam, good morning. And welcome.
Thank you.
Feel out too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Come here.
My godfather here.
You good?
I'm good. You can't complain.
Come here, the
Oteng, oh yeah. Oteng has always been very critical of the quality of music that we put out in recent times, and I'm not surprised that he's making this submission. But the fact of the matter is, I think we are being too hard on ourselves, because the moment you try to always create the impression that we're not making any progress when it comes to music production, our sound, and how well we're doing in the music industry, then you are telling us that virtually we're not doing anything. But these guys, these younger guys are trying. They are doing their best. I'm not sure we can go way back into time and still do the things we used to do 30, 40 years ago. Yes, there is technology which is helping us to do so many things in the music industry. And so you should expect that in as much as some people will do some live productions, play the guitar live, play keyboard live and all that, there are others who also employ their creativity on technology. So let's accept that. Now, what is the Ghanaian sound? What is even Ghanaian? If you listen to Perez Prado's The Peanut Vendor, and you compare to Anampedu's Kofin Krabia, anybody who is listening now should just go and search for The Peanut Vendor by Perez Prado, compare it to Kofin Krabia by Kwame Ampedu, and see. Perez Prado's song was released so many years before Kwame Ampedu's Kofin Krabia. But if you listen to his song and you listen to the Kwame Ampedu's song, you would think it is high life. But it's not high life. It's a bit of jazz, a bit of salsa.
It's a fusion.
A fusion. So even our high life that we say it is ours and we are so proud of, the thing that we call our sound came from somewhere. And it has jazz origins. Even the way we play our Humensia, when Kwame Asari of the Kumasi Trio met the Crusaders are Liberians.
Preach.
There's
a library.
They taught him how to play with a two-finger picking technique. So we have taken inspiration from so many people over time. There is nothing wrong with our sound being likened to Nigerian. At every point in time, our sound is likened to somebody. There were times that some of our singers were sounding like R&B singers. Shemfe, Chase, Nilante. Who else? That guy.
Blackstone.
Blackstone. You see, those were the days where they were also taking inspiration from the R&B singers. So there are times that people from different places try to also get inspiration from other people all over the world. There is nothing wrong with getting inspiration. And so now, if we are having people, Ghanaian musicians, trying to experiment with sound from other places like Nigeria, there is nothing wrong with it. It's about time. See, the fact that people are even tapping into what is marketable tells you that our people are very smart. There are times that you can say, okay, I want to stand out. I want to be different. I want to do things like me. You do that, but you might find it very difficult to penetrate the market. Now, look at what the Nigerians are doing with Afrobeats. And you tell me that if a Ghanaian tries to pick, let's say, a role or let's say a sample of a programmed pattern into his music, he's been boring, he's been uninspiring, then you're also telling me that at the time that you also took inspiration from the Crusaders, at the time that you took inspiration from the jazz era into high life music, where we had horns in high life music, which is not ours originally, at that time you were uninspiring, you were boring. I think we should grow. We should learn to accept the fact that life and culture is not static. We keep growing. We keep moving forward. And so we can't be doing the same things we did so many years ago now. I agree. We need an identity. But there is always that identity. In as much as we are copying from somewhere, even if you listen to the way, what do you call it? Kim Promise sings his type of Afrobeat. You listen to him sing and you know there's a difference between his style and the Nigerian style. So we will have the identity all right. We will pick inspiration from different people, but still have the identity. Go and listen to R2B's Back to Basics album. There is one song on there. I think it's Short Banker or so. I'm a piano fused with high life, proper Homensia. And it's fused on Amapiano. You can't tell me that the fact that R2B's decided to pick Amapiano beat, it's uninspiring. He's added something to it, and most of our guys are doing that now. So let's not be too stiff and too strict when it comes to creativity. Creativity thrives in freedom. The moment you try to tell people everybody should do things this way, if it is high life, it should be a Homensi and Kwano. But high life has even variants. There is high life which has horns, only horns. High life that has only strings. We had the George Dakonsa, Ben Brakun people, their type of high life, which was the Burger High Life. So why do we always try to create the impression that to sound Ghanaian, you need to have just one particular style of music?
Okay.
Oteng is making a point. I understand where he's coming from. You know, he's talking about quality of production and everything. I agree. But he's not creating the impression that what our guys are doing now is not good, it's uninspiring, it's boring, and that they're not doing well. I think they're doing their best in this era, and we should support them. We should also try to find ways of making the brand that they are taking from elsewhere stand out. And to tell you the truth, I don't think the Afro beats we are doing in Ghana sound so Nigerian. I don't think so.
Okay. Adam.
Chairman General. I think what Wei Ye Oteng is saying is, it's like everyone in a profession, and you think that there is something, some sort of change, which maybe you think that this change will not end your industry well. As a thought leader in the industry, what you do is you come out and talk, but how you talk is also important, because if you are not careful, your talk will create a certain kind of perception and create a certain narrative which may not augur well for the industry. For me, I have listened to Oteng read his writings on social media about this Ghana Nigeria thing. And what I read from all of these narratives is that he is apprehensive. He's not in for the seeming, likeness by producers playing that Nigerian kind of sound and other things. Like you are a footballer and you think a certain footballer from other country is about to take your market. So you clearly don't feel good, and if you are not careful, how you express that discomfort may create you with a certain picture, and that is what he should be careful about. Because when it's about fusion and others, Andy has been doing the library where he plays certain songs which were sampled from other songs outside. And some highlights we have done to. Andy has been able to expose the originality of those songs, where they are coming from. So it tells you that this didn't start from today. I don't see why we should be so much concerned about that Nigerian bit. It is, if it were to be from many parts of the world, I think, trust me, wouldn't have had a problem with it. But because of that Nigerian mix, that's why he's trying to have a problem. Look at what happened. That revolution in Nigerian music can never be spoken of without the mention of the likes of Kenny's music. But Andy, you know how Kenny's music was in Ghana, and how he was, using some Ghanaian producers to even produce and do certain things for his artists. Gradually, they were able to, most of the things the likes of Don Jazzy and others do come here, end up in Ghanaian studios and others. What is wrong in learning from the best? Because we had that vibrant, youth-oriented genre or music style, which they thought was good for them to come and, learn from. And they came to do it. It even happened with our movie industry, where after the colonial masters left out with the movie industry, the Nigerians had to come here and learn. And today, we can clearly say that they have the best industry than us. So it's always not bad to learn from bad practice. Where does Amapiano come from? But Nigeria, good practice. Nigerians feel that Amapiano is not DS, but they are popularizing it. You understand? Asake, people are enjoying Asake songs. It's Amapiano and Nigerian sound. No, but they don't have a problem. They're enjoying it. It's about how you tap it and how you're able to turn it to become your own. Exactly. People are and yeah. You see, that is what is happening. Recently, there was this program in the US. This huge music program. The South African High Commission and others, Tourism Authority, organized a conference at the program and told people the story of Amapiano, because they've seen that Amapiano is under attack and people are trying to own the Amapiano, and they are doing everything to take their sound back. So you can pick somebody's sound, experiment, especially when you see that that is what is invoking the market. So for me, he should tone down. He should rather look at how best we can, learn from some of these best practice so that our industry gets. I don't see as one of the headaches of Ghana music industry. It goes beyond justice. If we are talking about being international, it goes beyond justice, because Ashake is international, but with what sound? Not a typical Nigerian sound. It's Amapiano. You understand? So we need to look beyond some of these things.
Right. Okay.
They are challenges, but this is not what is crippling the Ghana music industry.
All right.
He, as a producer, knows.
Okay. Martinez, please come in.
I think Oteng should tone down when sometimes he's speaking about production. He's done well. When you look at his catalog, he has good works out there. But that shouldn't warrant him to come out with, some of the words he usually come out with. If you say Ghanaian music is disgraceful, it's boring, uninspiring. We don't need that now, especially when our industry has been given a recognition by Grammys. We don't need this kind of comment. It's negative. we've been recognized. Right now, the focus should be how we are going to make an impact. How we'll be able to, win some of these awards in order to break through the international market, in order to get big collaborations to boost the industry. So if you come out to say it's disgraceful and boring, it's some way, because Black Sherif, his song Soldier and Kweku the Traveler was produced by Ghanaians. I think Joka Nana, I'm sure I got the name right. Yes, he produced Soldier as well as Kweku the Traveler. Sam Snail also worked on First Sermon and Second Sermon, which Burna Boy is even performing the Second Sermon wherever he goes. Sarkodie's album, Jam's album, has A-Town, TSB, Guilty Beat, MOG Beat, all worked on it. Q Beat is still in the game. And so if you say it's...
Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator doing well. If you say it's disgraceful, I think you should retract what he said. It's very, very unfortunate. You should rather encourage the boys to do more. Where he's reached, he is an authority in the industry. So when you get a platform, yes, you might.
But is he wrong with what he's saying? Because some of the things he said were right.
But he's being harsh.
Especially with the loops and those roles he's talking about.
See, Andy,
it's like
No.
how you put it is very important.
Okay.
You have every right as an industry thought leader to speak, but how you put you see, recently Sarkodie was saying maybe he could have, articulated his side of the story in a better way. You understand? So it's very
when
important.
our guys were doing pop, I think the early 2000s, and they were mixing R&B kicks with Ghanaian vibe. Did we say the kicks were boring and uninspiring?
And even now, the world, America is feeding on Afrobeat. People are trying to tap into the Afrobeat sound. What is wrong with
so
dynamism?
Morning.
Culture is even dynamic.
You just joined us, so are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, please, were you paying attention?
Yeah, I was.
Did you listen?
Don't worry.
Okay.
That's fine.
Please, your 2 cents before we wrap
My
up.
2 cents. Yeah. So my 2 cents. My first sense is, depending on what lens you use to evaluate what is happening, you will have an opinion to share. If you are looking at this from the perspective of originality, then certainly you will clearly say that, our guys are not being original. But then again, in creativity, it's either you pick something to work with, or you start from scratch. All of them are creative, and they are all allowed. So from that perspective, he may have some points. But then the other bit too is that if you take it from the cultural perspective, the fact that we are talking about cultural propagation, there are a lot of sounds from Ghana that you can experiment with, from the Palogo to the Bobobos to Aduwas to whatever. All of these sounds are available that our people, if they want to be able to create something that sits on our culture, that they can tap into and use for creativity. And so from that particular perspective, I love the challenge that he's throwing out there, or I love the alarm that he's blowing. So what it means is that it gives us opportunity to be able to look in deeper and be able to bring out something that is quite unique to us and be able to obviously share with the world, because we as consumers in the space, we also deserve to be hearing something that is sweet, something that's nice, and something that's a bit original. So from that perspective, I would also give it to him. But when it comes to the marketing perspective, then the things might change, because marketing wise, if I'm the one producing, if I am a music maker, so let's say I'm doing a song, then I'm looking at what song can I do that people already recognize and it's a bit easier, the people can relate to. And so from that particular perspective, then the view is different. Even when it comes to DJ playing music, they'll tell you that there's a particular BPM they want to constantly work with, and they want to, if you are changing from song A to song B, and this particular song is already, is out there in the market and everybody knows it, that you want the subsequent songs to follow to be in a particular way, so it makes it easier. So for me, again, that particular angle, this might be a reason why people will be interested in those specific areas. So the DJ's list or playlist in terms of flow also comes into space. And then finally, question is, who are the ones making the beats? If that's what works for them, or let's say it could be that they are not too creative, or it could be that for them that is what works for them, But if
is it that they are not creative, or the artists come and request that, okay, Robert, you are a barber, I come to your barber shop and I tell you, Charlie, give me a boy.
So
Who are you to say no?
like I mentioned, it could be that either they are not too creative or that is what they want to work with. But if at the end of the day you come and request that and that's what I can give to you, indeed I'll give to you. So I think that there are multiple perspectives to it. So, but I don't want, I think the business angle too, we need to reiterate it. Maybe at the end of the day, Charlie, at the end of the day, this is what he does. If we keep encouraging people to do this, it means he might not get job. So for shouts, make we know Charlie, somebody is taking away the job from him. Yeah, because he wants to create, so he has to fight for his category. So we need to allow him. Otherwise, somebody will carry the food away from him off.
Because if that becomes what is in vogue,
then which means
those who like originality may not
will
go to
happen.
him.
So he has to shout. So please, that's his area. Allow him.
I was thinking others.
No, he's just fighting for food, just like anybody else will fight for food. So please allow him from that particular perspective. I think
Man must survive.
Oh, man must survive. So I think depending on where you are sitting, I mean, these are the angles to it.
That's where the passion is coming
But
from.
our new guys are doing well.
Yeah.
They are doing well. For a long time in the history of Ghana, for our guys to be, chalking feats, performing on international platforms,
Crossover songs.
Charlie,
But let me ask a question.
Is Terminator boring?
it can be
No,
better.
I want to ask a hard question.
It may be boring for someone.
Terminator.
Yes.
For someone.
Really?
Yeah,
Now
for
that-
someone.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, everything's
Yes,
not.
I'm now okay.
It's not the same.
So my big question here is this: Wei Ye Oteng, he's saying that what most. When we use words like most Ghanaian songs, I beg, list the songs.
That's
That
why I
is
wanted
one.
him to
Two,
list the songs. I mean,
most producers. Who be the producers? No, how many? Like, how did we arrive at? So I started by.
how do you quantify?
How
that?
did you get to this particular point to say most, and how, and most?
Maybe by mere observation.
Observation, like what? How
look
many
at-
have you
look,
listened?
just
to?
and we
How
have
many have
some.
you sampled?
In our industry, if you
listen
want,
to 3 or
if you
4
want
songs
to,
or 5, how? Because at this point we need to know.
if you want to even measure,
if we need to be able to
VGMA
discuss it
has
publicly.
most popular song.
Before he can really make a case for discussion, it should be alarming.
Look,
It should be alarming.
yeah.
First, okay.
Okay.
Have a number
Look
of
at the most popular songs of the year.
Say,
All right.
If it is just 2
All right,
3
let's
songs
wrap up.
that you are
Let's
using
wrap
as a
up.
How
case
many of
study,
these songs were in
Tomorrow,
the most popular song
guys,
of the year?
I beg
VGMA?
you. Tomorrow, let's continue. Let's get deeper into this conversation. Can we start earlier? We can start on time.
Sure.
I beg you.
Robert will be here very early, so.
Rockmaster is saying for the past 3 years, Daybreak is throwing more light on Nigerian music market. We should let the please. Daybreak Hitz is on Hits FM. It's on Hits FM. If you don't know, I don't know which station you are listening to.
You are throwing more light on Nigerian music.
He said for the past 3 years.
3 years.
That's what I'm saying. Hits FM. Daybreak Hitz. It's on Hits FM and it's in the mornings.
He's
Please,
listening to a different show.
maybe,
A daybreak, different daybreak.
maybe. Osakwamna says, what Wei Ye Oteng is saying is not apt. Loop samples have been in existence from Adam. Hammer himself, JQ, appear to reproduce these loop samples themselves because they weren't very accessible then. It's the same thing today, just that it's easier to get access to them now. Kanye West, Metro Booming, Pharrell, Dre, producers use and still use loops from classics. Okay? A lot of them, well, on Twitter, plenty. Slay Queen says, Nigeria is what it is today in the industry because of a revolution they all embraced. They sampled everything Ghana, sang our language, and broke barriers. Instead of undermining the growth process and evolution, can we embrace it like they did? Stephen Akwesiri says, how else do you want our team to say it? Why we know they hear the truth. He said the truth and said it the way it is should be said. It's not wrong learning from someone, but copying everything is malpractice and wrong. Enoch Nanapia says, Wei Ye Oteng complains and nagging balls down to hunger. The boys are not going to his studio to record and it's killing him. For the past years, he's been ranting here and there, so please find him a job. Why? Thank you. Let's continue tomorrow. Listeners, this is where we ended. Many thanks to MTN. Many thanks to Vodafone, Betway, Lunch Avenue, Francophones, and to you for listening. EcoBank, Access Bank, Awake Mineral Drinking Water, Top Herbal Clinic, and to you for listening. DJ Black is up next.